I found out my wedding dress was ruined by the iron. I was speechless when I found out who did it and taught them a lesson. Imagine this, the night before your wedding, everything seems perfect. You're holding on to the dream you've had since childhood, that magical moment of walking down the aisle. Then, in the blink of an eye, everything shatters. Your wedding dress, the one symbol of your special day, is ruined beyond repair. And here's the kicker, it wasn't a careless mistake by a stranger. No, the person who did it is someone you know, someone close. Sound unbelievable? Well, that's exactly what happened to me. Most people think that wedding disasters are just exaggerated stories. But when you're staring at the charred fabric of your once perfect dress, reality hits you hard. And trust me, the real shock wasn't the accident comme Pharaoh de Passar itself, it was discovering who was behind it. The emotions were raw, the sense of betrayal stung deeper than any fabric burn. But what came next? Well, it wasn't the breakdown you'd expect. I chose to handle things differently. After all, what's more important, the dress or the relationships we hold dear? Before you think, I would have lost my mind, let me tell you, there's more to this story than meets the eye. I didn't just let this disaster ruin my day. I found a way to turn it into a life lesson. Curious to know how? Keep reading, because this isn't just about a dress, it's about facing the unexpected and coming out stronger. And trust me, you'll want to hear how it all unfolded. There's a certain magic in the moment when a bride first sees her wedding dress. It's not just fabric and lace, it's a symbol of all the dreams she's carried with her. But imagine the heart-stopping moment when that dream turns into a nightmare. The dress, her dress, is ruined. She notices it not during the fitting, but on the very eve of the wedding. The sight of those burnt, jagged edges from a careless iron sends a chill down her spine. Now, you might think that this is where she crumbles, but no, there's a deeper story to be told here. In situations like these, most people would panic, and rightfully so. It's the day before the wedding, and what could possibly go more wrong? However, there's an important lesson hidden in these moments of crisis. When something as important as a wedding dress is ruined, it's not just about the dress anymore. It's about facing the unexpected, handling the disaster before it handles you. Think of it this way, if you can find calm amidst the chaos of a ruined wedding dress, you're already halfway to conquering life's larger challenges. Take a deep breath, sometimes, the solution is closer than you think. It's easy to say, it's just a dress, but to a bride, it's so much more. The emotional attachment to that garment is profound, which makes this moment feel like an emotional disaster, not just a material one. But like many unexpected crises, there's often an underlying story. And as we'll soon find out, the revelation behind this ruined dress is even more shocking than the damage itself. You see, it wasn't just an accident, someone was responsible. But who could it have been? The moment of discovery was as heartbreaking as you'd imagine. She carefully unzipped the protective cover of her dress, ready to bask in its beauty one last time before the big day. But instead of the pristine fabric she had envisioned, her eyes met with scorched marks. Her breath caught in her throat as she ran her fingers over the damage, a glaring reminder that something had gone terribly wrong. In that instant, the excitement of her upcoming wedding took a back seat to a wave of panic. It wasn't just a ruined wedding dress, it was a disaster before the wedding even began. She stood there, frozen, staring at what could only be described as the aftermath of a careless mistake. The dress was delicate, each detail hand-picked to perfection. But now, the once glimmering satin was marred by the unmistakable touch of an iron that had clearly been too hot. You can imagine the shock of seeing such a cherished piece reduced to this state. And at that moment, her mind raced. Who would have done this? Was it a last-minute adjustment gone wrong, or had someone tried to fix a wrinkle, only to make things worse? As much as she wanted to scream or burst into tears, there was little time for emotional breakdowns. She knew this wasn't just an innocent mishap, there had to be more to the story. Perhaps the person responsible hadn't even realized the extent of the damage they had caused. Or maybe, just maybe, they were trying to fix something in secret, unaware that their actions would lead to this catastrophe. The truth was, a revelation was waiting in the wings, and it would be far more shocking than any bride could prepare for. As she pieced together the timeline of events, the burning question in her mind was, who could have done this? It didn't take long before the answer came to her. In a moment of disbelief, the truth hit her like a ton of bricks. It wasn't the seamstress, or the dry cleaner, or some faceless employee at the bridal shop. No, the culprit was someone much closer, someone she trusted. That realization stung far more than the ruined wedding dress itself. A family member, perhaps, or even a close friend, had taken it upon themselves to help and ended up causing this heartbreaking mess. Confronting the person responsible was no easy task. After all, how do you handle the shock of realizing that someone so close to you had made such a grave mistake? The initial reaction, as expected, was a mix of anger and disbelief. How could you, were likely the first words out of her mouth. Yet, as the emotions settled, it became clear that the person hadn't acted out of malice. No, it was a well-intentioned, albeit poorly executed, attempt to make things better. Maybe it was a mother trying to smooth out the fabric, or a sibling thinking they could fix a last-minute wrinkle. Still, intentions didn't change the outcome. The damage was done, and the trust she had placed in this person was now fragile, hanging by a thread. This wasn't just about a ruined wedding dress anymore, it was about the deeper sense of betrayal. A wedding is supposed to be about unity and love, but now, here she was, facing a traco de confianza from someone who should have been on her side. What comes next is the hard part. How do you repair not only the dress but the relationship as well? And more importantly, can both be salvaged before the big day arrives? The confrontation, as tense as it was, revealed more than just who was responsible. It dug into the motive behind the act. In this case, the person had acted out of a mixture of anxiety and a desire to help. They had seen a small wrinkle or imperfection on the dress and, in their rush to fix it, grabbed the nearest iron without thinking twice. It wasn't malice, it was simply a misstep caused by stress and eagerness. But good intentions rarely erase the consequences of an action. The damage was done, and now they both had to face it. During the confrontation, emotions ran high. At first, the guilt was overwhelming on one side, while the sense of betrayal was palpable on the other. It was a moment neither would soon forget. The person responsible tried to explain, their words tumbling over each other as they apologized and attempted to justify what had happened. "I just wanted to help," they kept saying, hoping that would somehow soften the blow. But as we all know, even the best intentions can sometimes lead to the worst outcomes, and this was no exception. In moments like these, confrontation is unavoidable, but it doesn't always have to end in anger. After the initial shock wore off, she realized that holding on to bitterness would only make things worse. After all, weddings are about love, forgiveness, and starting anew. This didn't mean she wouldn't hold the person accountable, there was still a lesson to be learned here. But instead of letting the confronto familiar deepen the divide, she chose to teach a valuable lesson. Sometimes, you have to show people the real impact of their actions, not through anger, but through understanding. Yet, even with this newfound clarity, the problem of the ruined wedding dress remained. With emotions finally settling, it became clear that the real challenge wasn't just fixing the dress, it was repairing the trust and the relationships that had been strained by this incident. The lição aprendida here wasn't just about being careful with an iron, it was about communication, trust, and understanding. Weddings, in their essence, are about unity and love, but moments like these remind us that even in the most joyous occasions, misunderstandings and accidents can test those bonds. And while the acidente com ferro de passar seemed like a catastrophe at first, it also became an opportunity for deeper connection. Together, they decided that rather than focusing on the disaster, they would work towards a solution. There were options: a skilled seamstress could potentially repair the damage, or maybe a small alteration could turn the ruined section into a new design. In life, much like in this situation, solutions often lie in creativity and a willingness to adapt. You can either let the damage define the moment or rise above it. They chose the latter. It wasn't easy, but step by step, they found a way to turn this disaster into something manageable. The lesson here? Sometimes, it's not about preventing the storm, but about learning how to dance in the rain. And so, with the dress finally salvaged, though not in its original state, the wedding day arrived, and it was as beautiful as ever. The sopraccio no dia do casamento wasn't just about walking down the aisle in a dress that had been repaired, but in facing and overcoming the trials that had come with it. The emotional scars healed faster than expected, and what began as a tragic, ruined wedding dress became a story of resilience, love, and the ability to turn crises into triumphs. Yet, despite the happy ending, the journey itself left lasting marks, reminders that sometimes, the best lessons are learned in the most unexpected ways. As you've seen, life doesn't always go as planned, and sometimes, it throws unexpected challenges at us, just like that ruined wedding dress. But here's the thing, these moments are what define us. It's not about avoiding the disasters, it's about how we choose to handle them. So, what will you do the next time life throws you a curveball? Will you let it ruin your day, or will you rise above it? Remember, the true beauty of life lies not in perfection, but in how we navigate the imperfections. Now it's your turn. What situation in your life needs a new perspective? Think about the moments when things didn't go your way. How did you handle them? Could you have done something differently? I challenge you to take control of your next ruined dress moment and transform it into a victory. And trust me, when you do, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. If you're ready to learn more about how to handle life's challenges with grace and strength, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. You won't want to miss the next lesson, it could be the one that changes everything for you. Enjoyed the story? Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss new content. Share your thoughts and ideas in the comments, I'd love to hear what you think and what you'd like to see next. And if you want to keep watching more videos like this one, just click on the next video. See you there.